Hi, my name is Mark, one of the pastors at Trillium. I heard someone once say, you can only win to the degree you're prepared to lose. You can only win to the degree you're prepared to lose. And they went on to say that in their experience, people weren't generally prepared to risk losing much. People's emphasis actually was to try not to lose, and in order to try not to lose, we don't really make ourselves available to winning much of anything. If we spend our energy trying not to lose, we're not really much of a position to win. And then that can have real life consequences for us. And we experience that. In board games where we play with friends, where we're trying not to lose, whether it's in romance or in our careers or with our children, parents, or in our spiritual walk with God. The scriptures say that we're made in the likeness of God. Since God is love, that means therefore so am I and so are you. We're made with this rich, and we're endowed with this rich capacity to love and to extend radical hospitality and generosity to others. And yet this scares us because we know deep down that in order to live out that urge within us, that instinct within us, we also have to risk much. We have to risk a great deal. Love demands both a great risk in itself, even though it offers great possibilities too. And the story in the Bible is that we hedge away from that instinct within us, that urge within us to love at the very limits of our capacity. For what would happen to our lives if we really were to hand ourselves over to that instinct in us to love and be radically generous to other people? I think we know there's a great risk in that. We could lose big. We could lose real big. The Bible has this word called sin. It's not a word that people really like anymore, but it describes that instinct within us to hide away from our best self in order that we might protect ourselves from losing. I think that's what sin's trying to get at. All the unlove we create in life because we are afraid of where love might take us and what it might cost from us and what we might be asked to risk within it. So I think somewhere along the line we've made an intentional decision, a calculation to restrain or even deny that urge within us to love and extend radical generosity and friendship to others. With consequences, actually tragic consequences. This has real life consequences when we step away from our capacity to love others. The first story in the Bible, the story of Adam and Eve, is really the story of people who have been richly endowed, incredibly gifted, made in the likeness of God, it says, and yet they spend the rest of the story trying to protect themselves from losing this gift. And it costs them so much in trying to protect themselves from losing. In the next story, Cain and Abel. Cain kills his brother Abel. Why does he kill Abel? Because he lost. And that's the one thing that's not permitted in the world we live in. We cannot allow ourselves to lose. And that's exactly what happened to Cain. And in pursuing his vengeance against his brother, he loses even further. In fact, the Bible stories overall emphasize the more we try to protect ourselves from losing, the more we lose. Jesus offers us the antidote. In fact, he says it this way, if any want to become my followers, let them deny themselves and take up their cross and follow me. For those who want to save their life will lose it, and those who lose their life for my sake and for the sake of the gospel will save it. Notice the focus on losing, the word lose that Jesus mentions. He tips the whole process upside down. He asks us to risk winning big, even if also the risk is to lose big too. To go for it and to give ourselves over to that divine urge within us to love and extend generosity and hospitality to others. It's true, when we hand ourselves over to this instinct, we risk much, but the victory that God promises us is immense. Jesus came into the world. He gave himself over to God's urge within him to love. He lost everything and he won enormously. And now he asks us as his disciples to also risk losing big in order that we might even win with him the greatest victory of all.